Hello everyone, this is Defense Politics Asia, and this is the analysis or reporting or update. More towards analysis in terms of the Russian offensive. So the Russian offensive is still ongoing since the winter offensive. So however the scale of the offensive is getting smaller and smaller. Particularly, mainly the offensive is concentrating within Bakhmut, at the Bakhmut front, with the Wagner forces spearing the attack. They are still currently attacking at Bakhmut in two directions, from the north, in the northwestern part of it, as well as from the south towards the west or southwest. The Russians, however, has not been able to do much within Bakhmut, because the Ukrainians have launched their counteroffensive and sent in tremendous reinforcement, as well as forces to fight back or hold the line against the Russian onslaught. So the fighting at Bohdanivka is also, and Hryhorivka has been pretty limited, and the fighting at Ivanivske also very limited, which actually may corroborate something about what Prigozhin says, his criticism of the airborne forces not doing enough to help the Wagner forces. And so tentatively, the information coming from Prigozhin is that the Wagner forces will retreat, will be rotated out of Bakhmut on the 10th. And Kadyrov, Ramzan Kadyrov, the leader of the Chechnya Republic, has said that he will send his Chechen forces to replace the Wagner forces. And it seems to be confirmed in a way. There is a letter I saw on Twitter from Prigozhin, allegedly was sent to the Russian Defense Ministry, requesting permission to be rotated and replaced by the Chechen forces. So this is likely to happen, and the Chechen forces is likely to continue the fight at the Bakhmut front. So this otherwise, the Russians continue to do some bombardment. There are reports of bombardment at Hryhorivka and Kalinina. However, the bombardment is a lot more closer to Bakhmut city, with bombardments being reported at the southwest part of Bakhmut, as well as at Ivanivske. So this is actually pretty interesting, because this information comes from the Russian Defense Ministry, as they said that they bombarded the southwestern outskirts of Bakhmut. So this is actually shows how intense the counterattack by the Ukrainians are, that the shelling have been reported much closer to the city itself. The Russian forces are also allegedly attacking towards Minkivka, along the highway, and at Rozdolivka and Vesele. This information is from the 5th of May. So this is coming from Remilin. So Remilin is a secondary source for TPA. So we have to continue to watch and see whether this actually persists, corroborated. If not, then this is just nothing more than diversionary or probing. And the Russian forces, there is some report of fighting in the southwestern part of Sjeverne. Not sure what to think of it. This reported by the Ukrainian Defense Ministry, and the Russian forces continue to be trying from the south to capture Bilohorivka. Otherwise, there is no more offensive action within Crimea region, although there is some positional battles at Minkivka and the east of Nevsky. Otherwise, there's actually no proper ground offensive. The Russians are just simply bombarding the hell out of Nevsky, Terny, Torske, Dibrova, Serebrenka. So the Russians are just doing shellings. So the Russians, even here at the Crimea front, are bracing themselves for some kind of Ukrainian offensive. But I did not really see much information about any massive buildup of Ukrainian forces around Liman region. So there was some reinforcement coming to Liman quite some time ago, but it doesn't seem like it's a big one that will actually foreshadow some massive offensive. There is reinforcement reported at Serebrenka, but no, again, it doesn't feel like it will come as a massive offensive. So the The Ukrainian offensive is likely to still be around the Bakhmut front where they already launched it. And the Russians also did not do ground offensive around the Svatove and Kupiansk region. Similarly, the Russians are bracing themselves along this front as they prepare for a crossing by the Ukrainians along the Oskil River, and they are holding up at Minkivka and try to hold the entire front all the way down to Svatove. And all they do, similarly, they are just bombarding the Ukrainian forces to wear down the Ukrainian forces before they can launch their attack. So that's what the Russians are doing in the Kupiansk Svatove front, and basically, which means that the entire offensive, if there is any left, is no longer anymore over at the Kupiansk Svatove. So the other only place that the Russians really has been pushing is at Marinka. They are still pushing at Marinka somehow. Somehow this Marinka is so important that the fighting must continue. There are some rumors about fighting at Novomykhalivka, according to the Ukrainian Defense Ministry. Take it with a pinch of salt, and mainly is Avdiivka front. At the Avdiivka front, there is some half-hearted attack against Sjeverne, and there is also half-hearted attack towards Novokalynove. It seems nothing more like some kind of probing or harassment. It doesn't feel like a ground offensive. So the Ukrainians did counter-attack, and then the Russian fight back on 2 days later. It's just nothing much. However, there is one interesting one. Is actually at New-York front. The Ukrainian Defense Ministry on the 3rd and on the 5th reported that the Russians attacked towards New-York, and of course they did not mention in details where the attack come from. Is it from the east or is it from the south? No idea. So I will continue to watch this. It's not reported by pro-Russian sources, so it's kind of awkward that the Ukrainians actually reported, at least only the defense ministry reported that the Russians attacked New York, or at least towards the direction of New York. We will need to definitely keep track of this situation here. I personally don't think New York is important at all. It's one of those major cities that you can just simply go around. There is no need to capture New York. It's unimportant, not even Toske. These two cities are absolutely useless. The Russians can just move northward along these two, and then if they can break through, they can actually go all the way to Konstantinivka. So, which is actually here. So it's more important to capture Konstantinivka either from here, or they can actually break through the center and they can cut off this road. And then they cut off this road, the entire New York front will be crippled and handicapped. So the reports of fighting towards New York just doesn't sound strategically sound. So I don't think we should put much emphasis on that, at least for now. In the Zaporizhia region, the Russian forces have no offensive. Of course, however, they are preparing some massive civilian evacuation away from the front line, and I have no idea where they're going to send all these civilians to. And obviously, this is going to be like huge number of people. Maybe we are talking about up to 1 million people. So I do not know how the Russians are going to do this, but they have announced it. They will do it, and this actually is a sign of the Ukrainian offensive is about to come. So whether the Russians will hold the line or will this become a goodwill gesture, we shall see. Anyway, this is the analysis and update regarding the Russian offensive and all the Russian operations within Ukraine. Thank you for watching. Press the like button, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next update.